Good afternoon. So I'm winging it this afternoon. Hubby's just taken a walk over to Bunnings, as you do on a Saturday afternoon. Yes, I've remembered it's Saturday. And I thought, what's for dinner? And I needed to make some new CCGG mix. So I'm going to do that. I need to do some grating, so I'm going to do a bit of that. And I'm going to be very loosely following the San Chow Bao for the TM6, TM7. It's the high heat. So I just got an order of meat from the butcher crowd and I added some mince because I thought I'd check out what it was like. So it's pork mince. Normally with the San Chow Bao, it's a Matt Sinclair recipe. He normally teaches you how to mince your own, and that's what I normally do. But today I'm just winging it. So I'm going to flip you around and we're going to work on the other side. So hopefully you'll be able to see me. So I thought the first thing I'd do is do some grating. So I've got a beetroot, a carrot, and a bit of cabbage. So if you ever go to the supermarket and buy a bag of that stuff that's already chopped up, it's about $5.50 a bag. So for a couple of carrots, a beetroot, and all of this is actually left over from Christmas. So I thought I would use that up. So it probably cost me a couple of bucks and I'll get 3 times the amount. So I'm going to store it in a container. The other thing I'm going to do, when I do my noodles, I often buy these konjac noodles. There's no, they're gluten-free and they're a light carbohydrate, so just a slightly healthier option. Otherwise, rice noodles are gluten-free also. So first things first, let's do a little bit with the grater. So yeah, this is not available for sale at the moment, but if you have a demo, you can get it discounted, or if you buy a Thermomix at the moment, up until the 15th, so 2 more weeks, you will get it for a $50 add-on. So yeah, anyway, I thought I'd just show it how it works. So this is called the shaft, and that just sits over the blade just like your butterfly. And then your cutter goes in with this part to the front, and then we've got a blade. I'm just going to come out of here and come down to the bottom here. So there's some icons down the bottom that says cutting, slicing, sorry, it doesn't say cutting, it says slicing, grating and spiralizer. When you're grating or slicing, it doesn't matter what that icon says. You can use grating for cutting and vice versa. It's the blade that does the work. So we've got the grey side for grating and the slate side for slicing. So I'm going to slice my cabbage first. So that is the part I want up top. So that just sits over and my lid goes down just like that. So I just need to grab a knife, and so I basically need it to go through the shaft. So I'm choosing slicing, but it won't matter. I won't change that when I go to grating. And you just need it to fit through the top there. So I will just do this all, and I'm going to do thick because I like it a bit thicker. So that will just push through. When you're pushing, don't force it. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. So, see. It does sometimes flip that out. So, and it always defaults back to thin. So that's something to bear in mind. Okay. So, and that is my cabbage all sliced up. I'm going to keep it slightly separate just so you can see the difference. So that's sliced. Don't need to clean my bowl, but I do need to swap my blade over. So I want grey for grating because I'm going to grate my beetroot and my carrot. A little tip, I always do I've done red cabbage, okay, but if I had white cabbage, I would have done that first, and then I'll do my beetroot last because beetroot bleeds. So then I'm just going to do my thick grate for my carrot. You don't need to push, okay? Just guide it down, okay? Okay, and that's my carrot. And now I'll do my beetroot. Grey for grating. Actually, I might do one grated and then I'll flip it again and I'll do a thin slice so you can see just how fine. Again, I want thick. 2 seconds. I'll pop that in, and then I might pickle this because there's a beautiful fermented beetroot. I love raw beetroot. I'm not a fan of tinned beetroot, so I'm not going to touch that, otherwise I'll end up with red, red, red. Can you see that? Oh shoot. Okay, the fun joys of doing a live. And the last thing I'll do is just, I will have to touch that beetroot now, won't I? Because I'm going to show you how thin the thin slice goes. Did I change grate for grate, slate for slice? I didn't change the blade, did I? Okay, slate for slice, okay? The great thing with doing this, excuse the pun, the great thing with doing this is when I want to go to my next recipe, take this out and my bowl's clean. So I want thin this time. I'm just going to go really thin on my beetroot. So, and you could make beetroot chips with that. How gorgeous is that? I love raw beetroot. It's so thin. Perfect. Anyway, I'm going to leave that aside because I don't want to get my hands too dirty. And one of the things I actually, well, one of the 500,000 things that I love about the Thermomix is you really don't touch your food all that much because you can scrape it off. So that has just left my bowl clean, and I'll leave that aside over there for a memento. And I'm going to very quickly make my CCGG mix. So if you've been following me for a while, you know about this. It's just a recipe that I just use up the ends of my coriander, the roots, sorry, of my coriander, some ginger, I've got some chili and garlic. Now you might notice I've still got, I like to call it paper, but you can call it skin if you like, of the garlic. I always buy the purple garlic, which is usually Australian, and it's organic, so it's just the skin. I just leave that on. So I'm just going to quickly chop that down, and I'll come back to the manual mode, and I'm just going to do that on speed 5. But that was 5 seconds, speed 5 for 5 seconds. And I just need to grab a jar because I was not organised. And my trusty jam funnel. Actually, I might just do that a little bit finer. So let's go to speed 6. For another couple of seconds. That's better. I knew that would happen. Chili. Now somebody asked me the other day about the bowl. Yes, it is heavier than the TM5 or 6. Oh, chili. But if you hold it correctly, hold it down here and tip it, and you can do it with 2 hands. I don't find it, I guess I've gotten used to it, but I don't find it that heavy, to be fair. Okay, so I'm leaving my bowl dirty, and I'm actually going to come back to my sauté. And I'll just search that again. Sauté. If I can spell. Okay, sauté, Matt Sinclair, that's the one I want. So what I really wanted to show you is how to skip a recipe. See if excuse me. So if you come into the preparation, the first 2 steps wants to mince your meat. So I'm going to skip to step 3. Do you want to cook the recipe from here? Yes, I do. Okay, so this is my pork. I'm dubious about it. It looks a bit blocky, but anyway, I wanted to use it up so I can give it a fair go. Sesame oil. And it's 10 grams of sesame oil. Now, this wants to do it in 2 batches, and I will do that. And it wants peanut oil, but number 1, I don't have it. Number 2, I don't like using it. If you need something for high heat, can't go wrong with ghee. Okay, so I'm just going to put in 10 grams of ghee instead of peanut oil. Just a personal preference. Tick me off. Next. And some of the reserved pork. So, and I'm actually going to add my ginger at this point, my CCGG mix. I'm going to just put about a tablespoon-ish in. Okay, and my pork mince. That'll do. Oh, that's even going to tick me off. Likes to do it in 2 batches. I have done the whole lot all at once, but I'm not going to do that today. So next, and it automatically sets for 7 minutes. After that, we want to scrape down the bowl, and then we will add, it's an unusual recipe because it cooks half the mince, then you add your raw mince for another, I think it's another 7 minutes, 6 minutes. So you actually cook it in one go, but anyway, that's how the recipe reads. If you do have a TM7 and you don't want to follow a recipe for the high heat, come back under here and go to the browning mode, which is up here. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear that, but it's sizzling. Okay, I'm going to let that go for a second, and what I'm going to add to this is why I say I make stuff up. There's mushrooms in this recipe, but I had some mushrooms and spinach last night, so I'm going to add that, and I'm going to add a bit of cabbage. And then I will add I'm going to use balsamic because I don't have any soy. So one of the things I love to show you is how you can use one recipe but make it your own. It might be a one-hit wonder. If you like it, you're going to have to do those things again. But I'm renowned for doing things as a one-hit. So, because I don't like to have waste, and I'll just use up what I've got. The other thing I'm going to use are some enoki mushrooms. These make fantastic pasta. If you've never tried them, you don't use that root part. You just chop them off and throw them in. They really don't need much cooking at all. Absolutely delicious in an Asian style thing. Now I'm not going to be wrapping this in lettuce leaves. I'm going to strain my konjac and I'm going to, it's more like a stir fry I suppose, really. So yeah, anywho, how much longer have we got left? Always remember to pull down your screen, and it says we've got another 4 minutes. So let's just have a quick look. Can you hear that? Oh, sesame oil smells delicious. Yeah. So it still needs a few more minutes, but it is coming up quite nice and crumbly. Pop the lid back on that. So whilst I've got another, hang on, better start that again. While I've still got a couple more minutes, I'll come back under here and I'll show you in your settings, and I have showed you this before, but it's always good for a reminder, you can change the size of your font on the TM7. So the standard is a little bit smaller. You can come to large. You can also change the brightness on your screen. And in your sounds, you can change your duration and your volume. So another quick little hint and tip. Okay, under here in tutorials, this is also on your TM6. There's 12 minutes of reading, light reading there. So get the most from your Thermomix and you can go through and watch little videos. Who needs Netflix, hey? So anyway, go and do a bit of an explore with that. That is sounding fabulous. That is perfect. So that has gone, actually that mince has turned out really, really nice. Oh, another tip, with your spatula, if you're right-handed with the TM7 spatula, always go to the right, so stay behind the dull blade. So that mince has crumbled up beautifully. Okay, so I'm going to put the rest of that mince in here, and I'll do that for another 7 minutes, and that's the first part of my recipe done. So it's always a good idea to spread your meat out around the blade. Pop it back on and go again. So anywho, that's pretty much all I've got for this afternoon. You don't need to see me finish off all my dinner. So as I say, I'm just going to add my leftover mushrooms and spinach to that, and I'm going to add some enoki and some balsamic vinegar. So sounds yum, doesn't it? Super healthy. I'll catch you all on the flip side, and remember #replay if you're watching this again later. And remember, if you want a demo to get your cutter discounted, give me a hoy. Okay, take care, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Bye.